Well, a very warm welcome, race fans, back to the Deviant Racing GT3 World Challenge start of season 3.3. This is round one at the Blue Moon Bay, and this is Webbo here, thankfully back with you, which is fantastic. Very grateful to be back here, and we're starting off with a absolute banger new track for the Deviant Racing League records, as far as I can see. And we are back on with a bit of a bang. 10-minute qualifying as usual, followed by a 60-minute race. And this is the GT3 roster as it will begin for us today. Chaotica and Commentator are forming Team Special K. We're in the Ferrari 458 Italia, followed by Dirksy and Don't Need Time. They will be they're going to be in the Brando Renault RS01 GT3. But then we have Floody and Booze in the Team Puma Porsches, and Camzilla with Zanshin in Team Zin in the Mazda RX Vision GT3 on that we can see right now. Next up we have Team Coca-Cola represented by Mercury and T Deeds in the AMG, with Team Spotify fielding the drivers Zen and Nismo in the Lamborghini Huracan. Team Mountain Dew are next with Glovas and Preston in the Chevy. Safety car driver for this season will be Saito, with race director being Mercury himself as well. So we're going to have a break from tradition here, and we're going to go to Blue Moon Bay, and we get on with our qualifying laps, and let's check out where our drivers all are at the moment. Well, Sully it appears to be in the safety car rather than Saito today, so it looks like we've got a reserve safety car driver. Let's have a look at Glovas then and join him perhaps, shall we, on board for his attack lap here, his second lap, as we head towards turn 7 and 8, double left-hander in the infield, just about to close out sector 2. Looks like we are just releasing one of the Porsches to go on through and build into a good start lap here. It's a very short circuit, of course, and it's all important. Out of turn 9 through the long banked oval corner of turn 10. This is tri-oval, but we're not using that. And as Arcane says, woo to the new season, and we can't wait to get underway. Later on, after this race, we'll have a 5-minute break, and we'll be back on with the GT4 World Challenge. With this then, the first flying lap, I think, for Glovas since winning the previous season 3.2, and hoping to continue on with a bang here. We go deep into turn 2. Turn 3 is just a traction zone, but we need to be set up for turn 4, the right-hander, into the second sector now. And we have a mini flat-out section with a distinct kink in it before 2 hairpin-like corners. Might see some action into this turn 6 hairpin beneath the bridge. Then we're back to where we just joined Glovas with the double left-hander. I think we've got a sunrise situation going to be happening in our race, and we'll see how this one compares. So it's a personal best time, of course, and Zen has the fastest time so far, 107.5. Let's see what reigning champion Glovas is going to be able to produce here as it gets the power down and along the long main straight here. Across the line in a second, and we're going to go into 12th position. I was expecting a little bit more pace here initially from Glovas, but that is how things stand at the moment. He's in the Chevy and in the Team Mountain Dew. We can't see the sponsors too well in these conditions. We'll do our level best to get you some good angles of the cars. This is Team Spotify. This is Zen, the fastest car so far, with S. Berman next up. And we look forward to this. The rear view camera to the right of the driver's right hand looks absolutely amazing, doesn't it? Sunrise. I'm hoping it's sunrise rather than sunset. And it's going to be fantastic. As Arcane says, majority of the liveries are going to be NFL themed for the first race. That's really helpful. And I will do my best to spot the NFL teams. I'm reasonably good at the colours of the NFL teams, but we will see. I had absolutely no hope when it came to MLB or to college football. last season. Hopefully we're going to get on pretty well here. Thick Six is third. Say that 10 times quickly. With Nismo in fourth, Booz is fifth, and Dirksey is in sixth. Into the pits then comes S. Berman for a new set of soft tyres. We'll try and find you a pedal actually attacking the racetrack. This is Thick Six. As we go through the hairpin, we're going to close out the second sector in a moment. It looks positively light, pointing in that direction. Fairly strong wind for the drivers to compete with. That looks very marginal on the apex, but pushing the envelope here comes Thick Six, powering on through. And into the pits, there we go. Doof says race setting. So that's the light in the distance, how it looks without clouds. This is likely the brightest it will be. I want to see all the new sponsor liveries. That's a little bit frustrating, but I'll do my best. Once we go down the main straight, we'll try and get a sideways view where the floodlights are, and get some of these planes to turn their landing lights on a bit clearer for us as well, and hopefully that will help us out. But we'll do our best here. I've got my cheat sheet up next to me, but it's a little bit difficult. Nismo is representing the Team Spotify car, and in GT3 that is driving the Lamborghini Huracan. Very reminiscent sound here of the Lamborghini, very distinctive. And you've got to ride out super close to the wall to maximise your exit from turn 9, get the power down into the flat out turn 10 and close out the lap. This is fourth place at the moment. Can we improve? Not right now on this out lap. We'll join Booz then, and he's in the Porsche for Team Puma, appropriately enough for the German manufacturer, fielding for Team Puma. Is it Porsche that Puma are literally across the road? They're two factories. I got a feeling that Puma's headquarters are in Stuttgart, and it's they're right next to each other. I can't quite exactly remember, but it's definitely one of the German manufacturers. Booz posts a time 0.6 of a second slower than he's been before, so he stays fifth at the moment. Join Chaotica. Any chaos coming, but looks like Glovers has set a new fastest time for himself. So did S. Berman. But they're not featuring in the top 6, 7, 8 drivers. S. Berman is second, with Commentator jumping up to 6th now. Chaotica closes out the lap, goes 6th place, beats Commentator's time. So it is getting very tight at the top here. Nismo in 3rd position sets another new fastest lap for himself. 15 thousandths of a second only away from Zen's pole. And we have 1 minute and 40 seconds to go before this all gets closed out. Let's have a look at Preston. How is Preston doing? Low, mean growl for Preston. It could only mean it's a Chevrolet. It's Team Mountain Dew. And as I say, during the race we'll get a close look at the liveries if at all possible. Winding on in to the hairpin here for Preston. Glovers only 11th in the Chevrolet. The teams are not necessarily in the same manufacturer car, but they will share the sponsorship across GT3 and GT4. So instead of the manufacturers, we'll be referring to them as the team names, led by the title sponsors. They're not restricted to only one sponsor, of course, but they will be known by their title sponsor. Here comes Preston to cross the line. He sets a 109.8. And Zen is back out there. He is holding the provisional pole position here by 6 thousandths of a second only from Berman. Let's see, that's another fastest first sector then for Zen as he goes through turn 4. Mini flat out section in the infield. We'll take turn 5 under the footbridge. Heavy braking into the hairpin at turn 6. I don't know that the cars are going to get quite up to the VMAX that they need to in order to go for an overtake into that turn 6 hairpin. In 7 and 8, those left-handers, Camzilla goes faster than he's been before. This looks like a fantastic lap from Zen. If we can just close it out and avoid that wall on the right, it should be a new fastest time. Zen has a 107.5. Can we better that one, as we are now going to hit the checkered flag as well? Zen is going to cross the line. Will he go even quicker than he's been before? Oh yes, by a quarter of a second. There goes a 107.301 for Zen. Great racing, great work from Zen. Now you get a look at the Spotify colour scheme. So Zen, Berman and Nismo. Booz is in 4th place and just finishing out his lap at the moment. I think he's just on the slowdown. He is. Can't go any quicker. So Zen, Berman, Nismo, Booz, Thick Six and Chaotica. Your top 6 with Commentator, Camzilla, Preston and Dirksey rounding out the top 10. Fantastic to see, and great to have. Good to see Anatol as well. Haven't mentioned Anatol, but welcome. And if you're watching with us and you haven't said hello, what are you doing? Let's hear from you. Let's hear who you are cheering on this season. Are you representing one of the teams, or are you here for a driver in particular? But it'd be great to get to know our audience once again for the GT3 World Challenge, and I'll do my best to give you a shout out. Join in the fun today. We absolutely love to hear from you all, and I'm really grateful for all the engagement and clicking all the right buttons on the channel as well. So Zen will take that pole position, and we get underway very, very soon for you, as Rudy is here as well. Nice to see you, Rudy. Arcane cheering on Team Special K and Floody as well. So Floody is in the Puma team. I'm not quite going to be able to. I can say Mountain Dew, but I'm not sure I can say Puma, which I'm not going to remember to say Puma for the correct side of the Atlantic pronunciation. Safety car lap 24. Thank you, Anatol. And you can give me a confirmation nod if that means that the transition between is it the transition between lap 23 and 24 that is prohibited, or 24 and 25 that is prohibited from pitting? Just give me that little nod if you wouldn't mind. Just give me that confirmation. Here then is the Chaotica car. Chaotica in the Team Special K with those familiar colours, and what looks to be Pirate or Cavalier on the side. It's 23 to 24. Thank you very much, Anatol. That is prohibited for pitting. So we can see the livery slightly down the main straight, can't we? As Gareth says, let's go Team Porsche Puma. And it's Zen from Berman, Nismo and Booz, Thick Six, Chaotica, Commentator and Camzilla for the first qualifying session of the season. Less than a second separating the top 9 just about, with Preston, Dirksey, Floody, Glover, Mercury and Sully, of course, going to drive the safety car, which is the, I think that's the Mustang safety car, is it? But certainly not the lime green one that we were used to from season 3.2. We'll be trackside for you very, very soon. Looking forward to having to run a stint on the hard and medium tyre unless we get rain. That is the new racing rules, in which case anybody who sets the rain tyres will mean that only one, there are no longer tyre restrictions for the drivers. And Chaotic is saying Tampa Bay Bucks, it's a Buccaneer. Of course it is, on the side of the car. So just celebrating the start of the NFL season. And let's get trackside. It's Zen and Berman. Let's get everything turned properly on. I will try not to refer to the details on screen in case there are any drivers listening in. And it's time to go racing. It's 5 red lights and it's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Zen away from S. Berman really nicely indeed. S. Berman needing some sponsorship on that Mazda at the moment, but it's looking fantastic as they head on into turn 1 for the first time. Zen ahead of Berman, Chaotica and Booz, with Nismo dropping down to 5th position in the Spotify Lamborghini Huracan. But at the front, S. Berman challenging hard here onto Zen into turn 3 and through into turn 4. And he's ahead of Booz and then Chaotica, but Booz trying to go the long way round the outside here. And it's looking very impressive from Booz there. He's just managed to hold on and he's got the nose ahead. Can he keep the tail ahead for the Puma Porsche as they head down? It looks like S. Berman trying to keep the inside line, but it didn't succeed there, nibbling away at the rear end of the Porsche. There's a massive traffic jam happening at later on in the lap. Let's have a little look further down the grid as we will just see what happened. Well, certainly it was the Porsche and the Mazda coming together that caused a huge slowdown coming underneath the bridge, and it's going to take a lot of rectification to get that order sorted back out again, and it's going to help out Zen and Booz at the front of this race. S. Berman is nearly 3 seconds deficit by the end of lap 1. As we head back down the order, it's Chaotica, I think that was, and there's Nismo versus Preston coming through. Definitely looks like the Mazda team have struggled to get their livery applied, and certainly that was a big problem for the second Mazda as they run back down. But Mercury's in 7th. He's just set a fastest sector in this first sector of the race. Zen, Booz and Berman, your top 3 of Nismo. Mercury here in 6th position, fighting hard to hold on to that 6th position as round the outside attempts one of the rivals. I think that's Preston, and he's opened the door here to Commentator, who is looking down the inside into turn 7 and 8. That puts the Coca-Cola 46 car right out onto the grass, and Commentator, that will certainly draw some attention from the stewards if Mercury decides to have a look at that. But he just getting upset on the momentum off the circuit, and Mercury rubs the wall. It's getting very active down here, despite the fact we are very, very early into our season and our race. It's the Evian sponsored car now of Dirksey going to the outside line, getting a really good run here on Nismo and on Commentator, who holds onto the inside line next up, and there's a big bang onto the wall coming out of turn 1. That is very, very difficult to navigate these oval corners. They are certainly going to test the drivers as the Evian car of Dirksey just about manages to avoid further contact with Mercury. Zen, Booz and Chaotica now are the top group, with S. Berman having dropped down to 4th position. Let's see if I can't catch what's happened to S. Berman. That's pretty important for the podium here. Here he is in the Mazda, trying to find some room here. And I don't see a major problem for him, so he'd already lost the position, unfortunately. It's Zen, Booz and Chaotica at the front of the grid, and there is the Tampa Bay Bucks Special K car leading the group, hunting for that 3rd position. That is a nasty old bump as they step down off the apron onto the slightly shorter turn 1, and that is S. Berman getting crossed up and hitting the barrier as well. Once again, S. Berman then avoiding dreadful damage against the Armco, but it's certainly going to be a scratched up and plain looking Mazda at this stage of the season, looking for a way through. Commentator is being cheered on here, and he's in 6th position, racing on the VR helmet as well, and that is a distinct disadvantage from the static camera that the majority of the field will be driving. Even if they're in the cockpit, the VR, it is so much more immersive, but it is incredibly chaotic, if you'll forgive the pun. This is S. Berman then for the Mazda, and trying to find a way past the Tampa Bay Bucks sponsored Chaotica today. Very good. Booz is only 1/4 of a second away, even less than that, as he got a fantastic run here round the outside, and he passes to the inside of the apron and takes the lead, does Booz, and that is looking incredibly good for the Team Puma Porsche. And can he hang on, or did he hit the barrier on the exit that time? It looked like he was just on the absolute maximum of turn 1, and Booz is your new leader, with Zen It's medium tyres for Booz, hard tyres for Zen. The hard racing tyres are a challenge for the drivers to maximise over the length of a race. 54 minutes remain. We've had plenty of action already. Booz is your new leader by 0.6 of a second. Looks like he's really ready to get on with it, and he's overtaken now the hard shod Team Spotify Zen in the 83. Back for that hunt for the final podium paying place at the moment. It's hard tyres for Chaotica, hard tyres for Berman, and hard tyres for Nismo. 3, 4, 5. Commentator is in 6th and pretty much on his own here, with behind him the battle for 7th is led by Dirksey, also on the hard tyres from Mercury. And then we see previous season champion Glovers out in P9. Something just not going right here with the physics or handling or the adjustment here today for this new season for the Chevrolet, and he's gone full yellow. I don't think that's the Packers or the Steelers. I think that's just default Chevrolet livery, and behind him his teammate Preston. I think his teammate Preston is starting to think, you know, I think I could put an overtake on here in the number 5, and we'll get a better look at Preston's livery today. But these are just new football season liveries for everybody. Not necessarily going to be their full-on one, but I don't know exactly whether that is a flavour of Mountain Dew that I'm not familiar with, or a different livery there for Preston, and that should be interesting. I'm not sure. You're going to have to help me out. What is Preston going for here? Fix 6 is in 11th, and ahead of Floody in the Puma car, with Camzilla in 13th. Sully's waiting out there for our safety car period at lap 24. So Sully's got a long wait here to actually see some action. Booz leads then, and then we have Berman now ahead of Chaotica and Nismo for that 3rd position. So Berman having made the pass, Chaotica in the Tampa Bay Bucks 24, also sponsored by Ray-Ban it seems as well, and Nismo out there in the Spotify Lamborghini Huracan. Danny says, and welcome Danny, good to see you. Preston is running throwback Terry Labonte skin. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to have to trust you guys on that one. It's lap 7 of a 1-hour race. We've had 10 minutes, so we could end up seeing 70 plus laps here of the short track Blue Moon Bay infield circuit. Looks like Nismo unable to catch Chaotica, and that gap has now opened out. Let's head down the field, shall we, and take a look at Preston, who's made the pass ahead of Glovers. So interesting development on the team order there. Preston 1 place up than he was before. Let's have a look at that livery now that we are right up against it. He's in a Frosty's livery. That's why it's got Kellogg's written on it. Tony the Tiger's on the bonnet. Fantastic. But I don't know what that's got to do with either football or his main Mountain Dew sponsor. So Preston in P9 is 1 second just about ahead of his teammate, reigning champ Glovers. Behind them we have Floody and Thick 6. Looks like we might be expecting a move here from Thick 6 as well. Thick 6 in, it's the Renault default livery. I think we've got a few accidental default livery. Kyrus Kai says maybe the team motto is Stay Frosty. I think the team motto has to be there. Great. No? Anyone? Anyway, Thick 6 in P12 is eyeing up a move here in the Renault ahead of the Porsche, and you don't say that very often. It's getting in for another little lick, a slipstream, and the door has been opened into turn 1. Absolutely. I thought Floody was going to hold on, but I think he's letting him go here. Down off the apron they go and into turn 1, and it looks like Thick 6 with a great pass down the inside. Really nice, easy one there for him, but he did the setter work in the exit of the final corners. Great work from thick six, he's just moved up, set a fastest first sector with that slipstream as well, down in P11 at the moment. Fastest lap is a 108.3 while they're fat with fuel at the moment, and some of these cars have gone for obviously lower than full tanks of fuel here away from the start, and we will see some difference in that fuel economy or lack of fuel economy as these two drivers, the Porsche and the Renault, have now caught Preston and Glovers in the Chevys, and we've got a hell of a battle on our hands as oh dear, thick six rubs the barrier. That's going to hurt his momentum coming out of the corner, and it looks like we're going to get a reverse situation to the previous lap. This is now Floody in the Porsche in number 81, trying to get the slipstream, but it looks like he just couldn't time that release out of turn 10 to action a maneuver, or maybe they're suffering a little bit of of top speed, because it did look like Floody had a really good top speed advantage on the previous circuit. Looks like Floody though suffering with the medium tyres right now. Thick six suffering with the medium tyres, and it will be pit stop time very soon for some of our rivals here, as the ones that started on the mediums are really starting to struggle. There you have a fantastic view of the hairpin with the battle here for P9, which is a 4-car battle. Further up the road we have Dirksey versus Mercury. Looks like Dirksey ahead at the moment. Mercury trying to stay with Dirksey here in the Evian sponsored car. This is the AMG for Team Coca-Cola, as into the pits comes Booze from the provisional podium. Booze off the medium tyres and is going to head on out. So remember, everybody has to use both the medium and the hard for at least one stint. So that's going to be very important later on. But Zen is the leader by 3.6 seconds in the Spotify Lamborghini. Lamborghini was a very good race car across multiple different types of circuit last season, so hopefully it will take the Spotify team to a really successful season 3.3. as Berman is behind but has put a gap on to Chaotica and Nismo. We're waiting to see Booze, who will, I'm sure, come out on the hard tyre or be running medium hard for example. As we are approaching the 1/4 distance, Zen leads Berman from Chaotica. Nismo is not far away. Spotify Lamborghini is looking really good out of the blocks here, first and fourth right now. And it looks like that long pit lane while the cars are at maximum speed has definitely hurt Booze, who has come out into 12th position on hard tyres with a nice clear track in front of him as well. Can start putting in the times and actioning the undercut and do his level best here. Camzilla in 13th place has also pitted. He's on the medium tyres in the Mazda, and the Mazda team have not been able to get those sponsors sorted in time for the season. That's Team Zin. I need to upload some assets, I think, to get Team Zin represented properly. But Zen leads for Spotify Lamborghini. And heads on through. Going to pass the pit lane. The hard tyres still holding up very nicely here. Hard tyres for the top 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, but Floody, got a feel, not only being held up a little bit by the Renault in front, who the Renaults have now passed both of the Chevys. That is pretty big news. The Renault and the Porsche have now passed as Commentator pits, and I believe he was on the hard tyres, so he's pitting very early. Commentator, side by side we go, the two Chevys. It's Glovas releasing teammate Thick Six, and ahead of him we've got Floody versus Preston continuing, and Floody running low on his medium tyres, just under 1/4 of a tank of fuel as well, so could have even shorter fueled that Porsche. Looking to make the pass, but surely he'll be heading into the pit lanes very, very soon. And looking now down into the hairpin. This could be a good move, yeah. And there's the Frosty, number 5. not pressing the issue too much from Preston, from Preston, and making his way through. So Floody into 7th. Mercury is up the road in 6th, but surely Floody will be heading to pit lane very, very soon. Will it be this lap for the Porsche Team Puma? Looks like it will be. In we come for Floody. So that's the next medium runner into the pits. And this is Booz, who started on the mediums and is trying to action the undercut now from P11. Puts in a good lap of 108.9 on the hard tyres. That's only 0.6 slower than his fastest lap, and the fastest lap of 108.3 set all the way back on lap 5. But this isn't going to help his lap times. He rubs the barrier. It's not enough to cause damage on the car, thankfully, but that is Booz. He has set a fastest sector while wall riding, so maybe there's something to be said there. I'm surprised the driver's pushing it quite so hard with the wall riding, because Gran Turismo is notoriously strict on wall riding with penalties. Zen leads from Nismo. Berman's in the pits now, and this is very important for Booz. We'll get the first impression of how much Booz and his outlaps have been helping here versus Berman's in-lap. And so it was an earlier pit that Berman did not. And Berman is in the pits. I think Berman has now stopped in the pit lane, and I think he's on his way out. This is going to be interesting here, building up the speed. And from Booz's perspective, he hasn't quite caught Berman, so Booz has lost out in that one. And Anatole telling me wall penalties are turned off, so yeah, that will definitely help with the wall rubbing. I don't know, is that just a generous situation for the fact that we're racing at Blue Moon Bay for the first time? That does surprise me that wall riding penalties are off, but we'll let it slide for now. Booz in P8 has not managed to catch or stay with Berman through the pit sequence. However, Berman will almost certainly have to pit before Booz on the next sequence, because they're still on different tyres, but it has reversed itself round. Chaotica in between the two of them, and Dirksey pits from P3. Zen still out there with Nismo. Now Preston and Glovas, are they actually playing a pretty canny hand here and trying to do the mother of all overcuts? Is that the game plan for the Chevys, and get some clear air on those front splitters for the Team Chevys? And we shall wait and see. But this is the Team Mountain Dew, who have yet to have their stickers applied in the two Chevys. Preston leading Glovas at this stage in P3 and P4. Preston is, though, 30 seconds off the lead of Zen right now. Chaotica in between Berman and Booz. Kuroskai spotting Cam Zillers, set the new fastest lap. Great spot. But number 24, Tampa Bay Bucks, is sitting in a good position. He was P4 earlier before the pit stops. He's now P6 and has got ahead of Booz, thanks to the early pit stop forced from Booz starting on the mediums. But now they will have some speed, Chaotica and Berman versus Booz at this stage of the stint. Later on it should reverse itself. We are 1/3 of the race has now elapsed. Zen leads Nismo, yet to pit from Preston and Glovas. With the first of the pitting cars, Berman, Chaotica, Booz and Comacopa, your kind of net front group at the moment. Personal best sector for Chaotica, and going faster and faster on the new medium tyres. We can try and get a decent spell out of this fuel tank as well. Zen pits from the lead, and with only 3% remaining on his fuel tank. That was well calculated from Zen. Going to get rid of those hard tyres. They've worked out very well for him. Nismo has continued on though. Let's check out the fuel situation for Nismo. He's going to be very low in the Spotify Lamborghini, but I should make it all the way around. It's only a short lap, as I may have already mentioned, so hopefully that will see him out of the pits. Preston pits as well. S. Berman passes Preston and Glovas, and I wonder, will S. Berman now catch Zen? Zen has stayed ahead of Berman and is 22.6 seconds away from Nismo's car at the moment. Zen on the hard tyres. He's gone for a second set of hards for Zen, so he'll have to use the mediums later on, but he'll have a better idea of how much fuel he will require for the remainder of the race into the final sector. Should be a two-stopper, but there may be some splash and dash situations, maybe a set of softs at the end if people have miscalculated slightly. But into the pits comes Nismo, and he'll be the next one then to pit with 1% of fuel remaining. How about that? Fantastic calculations from Nismo. It almost looks deliberate to have got to that level, but fantastic stuff. And then we see if Zen, having pitted first ahead of Nismo, new hard tyres but a full tank of fuel, should in theory be slower than Nismo. Let's wait and see. But he has now passed Nismo, who is dropping down the order. We don't see Nismo's icon moving yet out of the pits, so he's about to come out here, and he's going to feed out of the pit lane in cut for car 7, right between P4 and P6. Obviously that pushes him to P5, so he can see Booz in front, and in his mirrors will be Commentator. Kuroskai saying just switched to medium. Yeah, exactly. So gone over to the medium tyres. Zen though stayed on the hards, so an interesting development. Will mean Zen will be at his fastest at the end, but has he put the calculations in perfectly and decided to run hard, medium, that could well work out well for him. Be aiming to get to about 15 minutes to go, I would have thought, before fitting the mediums, and then he can calculate the required fuel levels towards the end. Some track limit abuse going on here with the relaxed rules for the first time at Blue Moon Bay, and of course with that first time race at Blue Moon Bay will come the lap record fight for and to get themselves on the leaderboard for the lap records in the Hall of Fame, and that will be really interesting. Berman then at the moment the fastest race lap of 108.175. He rides second position right now, just 1.1 away from race leader Zen, but Zen on the hards, Berman on the medium tyres right now, and this is closing in then a potential battle for the lead. We've not seen this since lap 1. Let's see if Berman can start making inroads with his tyre advantage right now, but he's only got that tyre advantage for 3 or 4 laps, and then the deck will have taken such an effect that it will be difficult for him to overcome Zen's better or lower tyre degradation factor right now. So getting up to within a second is S. Berman in the plain dark red Mazda. Maybe he's representing the Washington team this time out. So it's now 0.6 of a second. Seemingly the Mazda a very slippery car down the main straight, but he seems to be gaining throughout the lap at the moment. S. Berman has the fastest lap. That was set, I think, on lap 21. As he moves across in the mirrors, he's going to go for the move down into the hairpin, is he? Oh, it's close, but no. Just serving notice, I think, into that hairpin right now. Looking for the outside to the inside manoeuvre, late apex, early throttle application. This should help him as he comes into the penultimate corner, turn 9, the last braking zone. Now we're trying to get the power down, and will Zen fight this one? Seems to even out down the main straight, and will we just turn to the inside? I think there was there's definitely some lifting happening for S. Berman. Happy to put the pressure on. The door is open. from the Spotify car. Certainly missed the apex. S. Berman was lifting and coasting down into the corner. Didn't want to go for the move. It was a 50-50 call. Low percentage maneuver, but as it turned out, the Spotify Huracan could not make it into the corner, driven by Zen at this point on the hard tyres. So Berman might rue that decision to not go for the move there. Meanwhile, he's going to be just noticing the headlights of Chaotica in his rear view mirror, or rear camera, depending on configuration here. Seems to have hit a bit of a stall in his progress around the half-second mark, but wants to now get a good drive out of turn 9 into turn 10. He's got to go for the low route down, and looks like he's now going to pin the pedal to the bulkhead and takes the lead, does Berman, on lap 22. Nice straightforward one, much easier this time than the previous move that would have had to have been done on the brakes. Takes a much tighter line to the corner through turn 1, which should spit him out towards the Armco, right up on the apron. And Zen with the outside-inside move. Looks like he's going to get that lead back. He does get the lead back. Tremendous work from the two drivers, and it looks like Berman just that was just compromised on the inside line into turn 1. It hurt him all the way out to the exit. Really long corner. So Zen back in the lead of this one, as we are on the no pitting lap right now, 23. So at the end of this lap, there are no permitted pit stops because the safety car will come out and these drivers will now catch the safety car. Safety car yet to come out though. Here he is on his way out. Can he avoid that white line to the exit and avoid an embarrassing penalty situation? But now the safety car is out, no passing on the grid, and it is our yellow flag period. Zen leads Berman by 0.3 of a second. Let's go down the order and see the cars in action as we're going a little bit slower now. We might get some better look at some of those nice new liveries. We've seen Chaotica in the Tampa Bay Bucks. Next up is Nismo in the Spotify, but it is hard to see those liveries right now. We'll look forward to our first daytime race, I think, but you get the picture. Neon green. Commentator is in the all red Scuderia Ferrari. That needs some stickers on it. Mercury in the AMG Team Coca-Cola. Anybody else on the Coca-Cola cars? It's looking pretty good. You can see PBS, Michelin, and the required stickers. We have the, I think this is the Evian Renault of Dirksey. I don't think that is going to be the official livery for the rest of the season. Camzilla, all white for the Mazda. The default Renault livery for Thick 6, it hasn't come through. Likewise for the Chevrolet of reigning champ Glovas. Then we have again another Renault for Thick 6. Floody is in the Team Puma car. He's in the Gulf orange and blue with yellow Puma branding and the number 81. The other Team Puma car is kind of green, and there is our safety car driven by Sully, and we wait for him to peel off into the pits, turn his lights out when it's time to go. Now the pit stops begin to see us home for half an hour of racing. We saw Glovers and Preston try the soft tyres there. Interesting. So they've gone out on the softs for just a really short period to see them through the safety car. Now they're going to fuel up to absolute brim the tanks, and that is going to move around the order once again at the tail of the field, and they get the opportunity to take a free pit stop now. Medium tyres. I don't think they're going to be hoping to take the mediums all the way to the end of the race, but possibly going to go hard, soft, medium, soft. That's quite an interesting plan. But full of fuel right now, and on the medium tyres is Glovas. Likewise for Chaotica, for Commentator, Preston and Camzilla, all gone for those mediums on a full tank of fuel. And here we have speed limited Sully, and he has even put on his rear window his speed that he is limited to. Zen on the hards, Berman on the mediums. We saw some great overtaking before the pit stop period. Don't know if anyone watching with us is new to the Deviant Racing League and is just joining us on the channel today. If you are, there's a link to join. Hopefully the link will work in the description of today's video. This is of course Deviant Racing, and you can check out their channel as linked in the title as well. And, always looking for new drivers. Lots of great things happening on the in the league throughout the week. And we go green flag racing at the start of lap 26. Zen leads Berman, Nismo and Mercury, and we'll see the cars coming through turn 1. It looks like Chaotica down the inside. Several cars going side by side in the midfield here. Not least, we've got Globus having a look on Dirks' Evian Renault, but unable to make a manoeuvre to go through at this stage. Commentator 11th, Camzilla in 12th with Preston at the back of the grid at the moment on those new medium tyres. But Zen leads Berman by as much as Berman leads Nismo for the 1, 2 and 3. So Team Spotify Lamborghini Huracan first and third, and it looks like Berman's struggling to get those worn mediums back up to temperature through the safety car period, and wriggling around, and has lost out by a tenth or two front and back. So Berman in second place now. Nismo would love to make this a 1-2 for the team and be the rear gunner for Zen as well. So it's looking really good for the Spotify Lamborghini Huracan. This is Berman's regular line into the corner, really tight into the first part, really wide into the second part of the corner, but Zen also just as wide out of the corner as he was wide into the corner. So Berman just taking slightly different route, and he's managed to get the fastest lap and put in some good qualifying times as well. So can't doubt that. Maybe it just suits the very low and stable Mazda. It's better to drop off the apron under braking as early as possible, and then you can correct the car before you hit the apex. But I'm only speculating. Berman in a hurry to get the move done here on the medium tyres. He'd love to get to the point where he can fuel and tyre up to the end of the race. Presumably it's going to be another set of hards at full racing speed, but he's going to lose so many places because he didn't take a free pit stop on lap 25 like many of the rear drivers in the field. That's his calculation anyway. He will have run plenty of practice races to see if there's that opportunity. There's that character line, just dealing with the car at the apex, looking for the slipstream on the exit, and he really lost out there. Nismo now down the inside into turn 4 and 5, and can he hang it on around the outside into the hairpin? Absolutely. Nismo then, it's now 1-2 for Team Spotify Lamborghini Huracan. Zen leads Nismo, and it's looking good for that team with half a tank of fuel, perhaps over-fueled on this stint, but of course any fuel he has left in the tank will be fuel he doesn't have to restock and refill for the end. Actually, he's gaining significantly on Zen here. Zen having a bit of a bad phase. That sector of the of lap 28 was really slow for Zen. Also sponsored by Gibson Guitars as well, I can see. I had the cheap version of Gibson. I had an Epiphone when I was younger. And here then is Nismo getting that slipstream on the back of Zen. Zen not indicating that the door will be left open for Zen, but the number 7 feels got some speed on this lap and is being held up here by his teammate slightly. Super close battle at the head of the field. I think it's a green and orange Puma for Booze. is closing in. Maybe it is still light blue and orange. And Boo's having a look on Berman, and then into the hairpin. Berman just hanging on, but sticking one wheel, two wheels out on the grass. And Boo's looking for that wide entry into turn 9 for the power to go down. Nismo looking like he's got a terrific run through the penultimate corner. And here he is, taking the low lane down on the oval corner for turn 10. And a new leader is Nismo, and Zen not fighting that too hard. Nismo with a slight tyre advantage at the moment. Is Zen just tucking in for a slipstream? Is he going to have a look down the inside? He'll have a very unusual move down the inside, but Berman is hugging that apex. He's made contact with, oh dear me, with Boo's, and that's the Puma round as well. That's Boo's round on the inside. He's got to get that car turned back round, but it was in fact a really tricky one to call. Let's go back, shall we, to what happened. There was the Puma just losing the car on the return back off the apron, and it is certainly Zen losing out there. Chaotica has profited by just sticking around in the right place at the right time. Chaotica managed to profit from Berman Zen making contact. That was just the confluence of those very different lines into turn 1, and Zen losing out. He was a little bit boxed in, couldn't make the move on his teammate, and they just came together, and that caused avoiding action for the Porsche. And into the pits comes Berman to mend, refuel. There was no damage on the car for Berman. I wonder if there was, though, for, is that Mercury in the Coca-Cola car? Let's have a look at Boo's. Boo's does have damage on the car. Front splitter, front right wheel, and that will be really frustrating for him. I don't know if he'll get medium tyres for the last 22 minutes of the race through to the end, but definitely one to watch, as Zen has avoided damage but has lost 6 seconds to the leader and the lead of Nismo. Will he rue allowing Nismo through quite so easily on the previous run? I'm not sure. But he'll be happy that at least the lead driver at the moment is his teammate. However, you have to say, drivers on the first race of a season, and it's not a long season, I think 7 or 8 rounds this season, they don't really like to be the second of the team after the first race. It is a little bit tricky to lose out to your teammate early on. Camzilla now in 3rd place and looking good on the medium tyre. Chaotica up ahead with Zen behind. Then we've got Floody sitting in 5th place in the Puma Porsche, and maybe not for long, as down the inside comes the all-yellow Chevrolet of Globus, who's managed to make an unusual strategy work at the moment. He started, I believe, on the hard tyres, went to the softs, is now on the mediums, and then we'll see if he can get the mediums through to a point where he can run a second set of softs or a second set of mediums to finish this race out. 21 minutes remain. This is the first round of the GT3 Season 3.3, and coming up on the channel just a few moments later, live coverage of the GT4 World Challenge with an all-new lineup as well. Can't wait to see that. I know there's lots of GT4 drivers in the live chat as well watching, and hopefully they are excited to get going. I imagine they've just got the race on one screen and they're doing some practice runs here on a second screen. This is Floody in the 81, getting a great run on the Lamborghini in front, but giving up a huge slipstream there, a double toe for Globus, who has a little look down the inside into turn 1, can't make it work, but it looks like Floody is definitely hoping to make a move here on Zen on the hard tyres, and hasn't been able to recover. Would have been okay if he'd been able to stay with his teammate, but Berman having other plans about that, I'm sure. No malice or deliberate action, but just an accidental touch as the two very different racing lines came together into the mid part of turn 1, and that has really hurt Zen's race at this stage. Now he's slow mid-corner versus the P4, versus Floody in P5. And will we see Floody have a go now? Usually if you can get the car to the low side through the final turn, you've got a good run here. And it looks like the Lamborghini continues to be a very quick car down that main straight as the leader Nismo pits, and Zen's teammate Nismo is in the pits now on the medium tyre, 15% fuel, 19 minutes to go. Once he comes out of the pit lane, we will see if he can make a different set of tyres work. Chaotica, your new leader from Camzilla, and the first of the lead half of the grid to pit for the last time, I should imagine, is Nismo, Dutch driver in this predominantly American grid. Floody losing out to Glovas. Glovas putting in a nice clean move that time. Zen is in the provisional podium positions once again. S. Berman still holds the fastest lap of 107.9. And we're closing in on some of those qualifying times as well with the 107s. Now that we're into that range, but right at the end of the race the cars will be at their lightest, but the tyres probably not be quite where the drivers want them for a fastest lap attempt. Chaotica from Camzilla from Zen, and just check out exactly where our former leader Nismo has come out. Well, he's behind Booze. Booze still, I imagine, left to pit before the end of the race. Nismo's put a full tank of fuel and hard tyres. He's taking absolutely no chances at the end of this race. Just happy to get some good tyres on, and not confident of getting the medium tyres to a finish from this point. Anatole just confirming exactly with the second screen situation. I imagine many of our drivers are doing that. Just doing a race simulation, race stints, calculating their fuel use, and learning a little bit about the fuel use from the GT3 drivers as well, I imagine, and how much of a fuel burden will be happening for them. It's lap 35, and we have 17 minutes to go in our first race of the season. This is our previous leader Nismo, 26 seconds away from the lead at the moment, but there's going to be a lot more than that as he oversteers and punts the barrier. That could be a podium gone begging now for Nismo as he hits the barrier, damages the front splitter, and loses the car. It's just the exit out of turn 8 that caused that issue for Nismo, unfortunately. And we wait to see if we'll get further safety cars, further pit stops for the drivers. Zen is very low on fuel. He's front right limited here. As Kyril's Kai is saying, he hit a blade of grass, maybe so. But it's not wet, so you should be able to touch grass and not have a problem. Glovas is just hanging on to his position, but Floody getting impatient, I think, at the moment as well. Zen is driving on fumes and heading to the pit lane. No doubt about that for me. And it's all going wrong here at the moment for the Lamborghini team. Can they rescue it with just over 1/4 of our distance to go? Glovas is following on through. Here comes Zen into the pits. Just a cheeky toe from Glovas attempted there. Try and resist Floody's overtake, who's just behind him on track. Chaotica, Camzilla, Glovas, Floody, your new top 4. Start of lap 37 as Zen now pits. I think we've got a wide open shot here at the podium. If you're watching with us live, drop me a note as your predictions for the podium, because I can't make head nor tail of how these strategies are going to run. Floody has almost destroyed his front right, but he's got enough fuel for several more laps. I'm sure he's going to have to come in as Floody is struggling to get past the Chevrolet. Here he is down the inside, Floody to the hairpin, and a nice overtake. Will he be hampered to the exit? He's got a good exit line there for the car, and but really struggling to get the turn in now on the front end of the Porsche. The 911 body shape and engine arrangement always going to cause a little bit of rear axle oversteer on throttle, but Floody with 15 minutes to go, it's a question mark as to whether he can make the end of this race on a single set of mediums. In fact, it is Glovas that pits off the medium tyre, and Floody is going to try and hang on here. Surely it's going to be even a gear lower into turns 1 and out of turn 10. He was very slow getting the power down because of that front right. Just desperately waiting to get the power down on the exit of turn 1 here. The short corners are okay. It's the really long ones at the top and tail of the race, of the lap. And you can see what he's losing here, because Dirksey in the Evian Renault is chasing him down on the hard tyre. Hand over fist, Dirksey is catching for a provisional podium here. Don't think he's fueled to a finish, Dirksey, but it's possible with some conservation. Just some lifting and coasting potentially might be the order, but Dirksey easily past Floody, who I think has gone a lap too long on the tyres. He's back out on the grass slightly. He's trying to get into the pit lane at the last minute possible, but causing damage on the car now. Just going to take time in the pits to mend, and 1 lap too late, I guess. Floody will reflect on this one, and he absolutely drags the car into the pit lane. Camzilla now leads by 9 seconds from new second place Dirksey in the Evian Renault. Camzilla on the medium tyres, probably not fueled to a finish either. As Berman back into third, he has fuel but probably not tyres to finish this race out. As Mercury moves up, Chaotica up to 4th, Mercury into 5th position, and they'll be fighting hard with Thick Six, who dives down the inside and completes a great move. Does Thick Six. They come together again on the exit of turn 1, and they'll go side by side through the next few corners. The AMG has the inside line for the major 2 next braking zones. That's this one and the end of the next mini straight. But no, that was Mercury having a problem and spinning out of contention there. Let's have another little look at that one, shall we? Here he is, down to the inside, through into turn 4, just gets on the power offline, loses the car, tank slap around 90 degrees into the barrier, and another damaged front left of a car, and it is all coming unglued for our drivers as Camzilla pits. Dirksey is our new leader on lap 40, and has just a little bit of fuel left to go. Can probably fit soft tyres when he has to pit for fuel, but Dirksey has a lead of 14.3 seconds, and the later he can leave it, the less time he needs to refuel for. But Berman onto a good thing here, I think, but it really has been very eventful. I'm not sure anyone has managed the full hour of accident and incident-free run in this night Blue Moon Bay race to start off our season. Glowing front disc brakes, Berman doing exactly the same thing, losing the car and spinning under the bridge on the exit of the hairpin this time. Berman, no one wants to win this race, it seems. It's just accident and incident all the way through this race for the drivers. Berman really struggling, and his tyres don't look that worn. Just a miscalculation on the exit of turn 4 for Berman. Allows Glovas through. I think it might allow Thick Six through down the inside through the final corner. And will we see more pit stops on this 40th lap? Not amongst this group, as Nismo is back on the hunt now from P7 for car 7 down the inside of Thick Six. I think Nismo is going to be going for it, and he'll be taking a tighter Berman-like line as they try and exit now corner. There goes Nismo on the low line with so much more grip than the cars in front of him. New tyres for Nismo, and is he going for just 2 lower percentage manoeuvre? I think they just touched Nismo and Thick Six. Nismo just ahead round the outside of turn 4, and that's a dangerous place to pass at the moment, as Berman on the recovery as well. Behind Nismo will be Preston getting alongside Thick Six, and now they come to contact again. That's Preston. I think Nismo losing the car himself. See, as we head down towards the hairpin, Was that a miscalculation from... Oh, it was a miscalculation from the Chevrolet of Preston. And he's ruined Nismo's race again. So the Spotify team have been definitely suffering from some contact today through no real fault of their own. I think Preston just late on the brakes, and that puts Nismo in P6 right now. Camzilla, Chaotica, Glovers is your provisional podium with 9.5 minutes left to run. Camzilla in a great position here in the Mazda. I don't know how he's managed to work his way up. Perhaps he hasn't had any accidents and that's how he's done it. But at the front, it's Camzilla and Chaotica on new tyres to see this race out. Could we see the Tampa Bay Bucks on the winner's step for this first race for their new livery? And if so, will they stay on the car for the rest of the season? Because they'll certainly be very pleased to get the press. It's Chaotica in second place from Camzilla in the all-white Mazda. This is very, very close then towards the finish of the race, and they're both fueled and equipped with the right tyres to get them home as well. 0.6 of a second separates those top two, who I haven't actually seen in a barrier or any make contact with anybody else at this stage. Say that, and I was expecting to see a car hit the barrier. Of all commentators' curse last night on a stream. I'll try and share that video with everybody later on the channel, but it was spectacular last night. Thankfully the race had finished, but it was quite something. So I'm very nervous about cursing anybody. 0.5 that gap now. It's lap 43. 8 minutes to go. Fastest lap still sits with S. Berman, who's the only driver I believe to get underneath 1 minute and 8. Powering on through we go. It's the Bucks on the front quarter, but suffering there on top speed is Chaotica. He's on the mediums. Camzilla also on the mediums, and really even fight between the front two to see this race out. We've also got a three-way battle right now as well down the main straight. That's Nismo, Preston and Zen for P6. Nismo has it at the moment. That was a mistake though from Floody. Floody tumbling down the order, unfortunately. Let's see what happened for Floody. It was dropping off the apron, I think. He took the inside line at this stage. He's right down the inside, down near the apron. Comes unstuck, and he just looked like he had the steering wheel turned the slightest amount, dropping down off the bank section, and he spins car 81, and it's down to 8th place for him. That helps out this Nismo Preston Zen battle, and now it's over 5th position. So really, really tight. Talk about tight though at the front. Chaotica now just 0.5 of a second away, gaining a 10th on that lap. But the lap times just aren't quite there. I think we might be slightly overfueled for the lead pair. Better safe than sorry. These two, will we see a change before the end? And Chaotica driving very quickly, 0.005 only slower than his fastest time in the first sector. So trying to do his level best to pile on the pressure against Camzilla, who leads this race right now from pretty much nowhere at the start and through the majority of the race. Dirks is in 4th, Glovers is in 3rd place, again pulling that one out of nowhere, and then we've got this great three-way battle for now 5th place between Nismo. Teammate Zen now has overtaken Preston, and Preston down in 7th with Floody, a distant 8th at this stage, thanks to that spin we just saw. Floody's in 8th. Behind him there's a tight battle between Commentator and Booze. Booze in 10th place right now, with Berman, who is putting in another fastest sector of the race in sector 2. We've got Thick 6 in 12th, and Mercury at the tail of the grid in the Coca-Cola AMG after a fairly recent spin, a little spinella. Back for this battle for our win outright as we dip underneath 5 minutes to go. The rear end of that Mazda is looking a little loose for Camzilla, but Chaotica has allowed the gap to build and stretch out slightly here. We'll be hoping to just rein that back in, and certainly seeing Camzilla get the rear end out is going to help him, just motivate him that all is not lost and there is still plenty of chance to take the win here. Just needs to bring that gap down, but I think Camzilla is starting to stretch away at this phase of the tyre wear takes effect. They are going to have to be a little bit careful to get the cars home. Those right-hand tyres taking a real punishing around this circuit, but they have an 8.2 second gap out to third position Glovas, reigning champion Glovas, who is running an unusual strategy today. Hard, soft, medium, and a very long medium stint, I believe, here at the end of our race. Not a lot of fuel remaining on Glovas' car either. He's got Dirksey right behind him as well on much younger medium tyres. So again, we might see a good battle. Glovas is fully defensive into the hairpin, right on the middle route down into the apex. Dirksey doing what he can to hang on to a podium. Good way to start the season, but reigning champion Glovas might feel a little disappointed with the pace overall today. But maybe this track just not suiting the Chevy, and when it's got its proper stickers on it, will go a lot quicker, I'm sure. Evian sponsored Renault catching incredibly quickly. The Renault just powering past. That was uncomfortably faster from Dirksey. I don't think that was all just a run out of the final corner. That was tremendous top speed on the Renault, and he takes third position away. And the gap has opened up to second place to 9.6 seconds in that phase. Nismo still leads his teammate Zen and Preston in that battle for fifth. And Chaotica, feels like Chaotica has done all that he can, and now Camzilla is dropping the hammer and putting the distance on Chaotica. Looks like it could be a Mazda victory here for Team Zin, yet to be represented with their stickers and their new livery. But Camzilla driving the wheels off this Mazda right now. He's got just under a quarter of a tank to go, 1.5 minutes almost left to run. So I think this lap 49 will be the penultimate lap that we will see. So Chaotica now a distant second, you've got to say, almost 2 seconds away. And we'll have a look at the as things cross. I'm pretty sure it will be into the 59th minute by the time they cross the line once more. We'll see this race finish up. But Camzilla just hoping to hold on now to what is quite a lively Mazda, long wheelbase, very tightly sprung car, and hanging on at the moment. Still getting good turn in through turn 9. And yeah, we're going to see one more lap. It will be 50 and done for the Blue Moon Speedway in the GT3 World Challenge. And it's a white flag for the final lap of the race. And we'll see if he can get a fastest lap out of this run as well. Dirksey has dropped Glovas by 5 seconds since the overtake, because Glovas is trying to make it home on the fuel. Nismo might catch him though. Glovas is trying to limp home on virtually no fuel, no tyres, and Nismo, Zen and Preston could all pass him before the end of the race. So Glovas is trying to do a really, really conservative final lap. Look at the gap drop. It's now under a second, and it is super close here before we finish this one out. I wonder if he'll hit low fuel mode before the end. But looks like it's going to be Camzilla. One more braking zone to go, and it's not even that much. Turns into turn 9, and he'll breathe a huge sigh of relief. Camzilla is going to power on out of the turn 10, and Camzilla will be the first winner of season 3.3 in the GT3 World Challenge for the Team Zin Mazda team. And Chaotica in second place. Great showing for the Tampa Bay Bucks Special K team, with Dirksey in the Renault Evian for P3. Looks like Glovas is going to just about finish this one out, as Nismo is going to beat his teammate Zen to the punch as well. So there goes Glovas. No, Nismo just got Glovas by 30 thousandths of a second, and it finishes out Nismo ahead of Glovas with Zen in 6th place. So Nismo managed to get 2 places on his teammate at the end, despite finishing only 1/10 of a second ahead of him. It's Preston in 7th, Booze in 8th, Berman in 9th, with Copa, Floody, Mercury, Fixix finishing out the final paying position. But it's Camzilla for the Mazda who is going to be our victor today. Suddenly it's daytime. It's Camzilla. 7 place gained. Great race from Camzilla, and congratulations to him. I think Berman, I think Berman will have the fastest lap after all. But Camzilla wins. They're your provisional results by 1.4 seconds from Chaotica. Dirksey nearly 10 seconds away in 3rd place. Then comes Nismo, Glovas and Zen, who cross the line virtually together. Preston is in 7th. The first Canadian and non-American is Booze in 8th. Then we have Berman with the fastest lap, Copa, Floody, Mercury and Fixix finishing out the grid. Just 45 seconds separating 1st and 13th positions. Great race for everybody. Hopefully we will see you in a few moments' time for the start of our next round, next coverage, the first round of the GT4 World Challenge. I hope you've been enjoying it. My name is Webbo. This is Deviant Racing, new season, and we will see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next race day.